In the past month, nearly a dozen cases of domestic violence cases in the National Football League have ignited an important conversation across the world. How can you make sure it doesn't happen to you or a loved one? Joining us to share some advice and tips is Marianne Winters from Safe Passage. You're the executive director. It's wonderful to have you here, Marianne.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
We've always had you to promote the hot chocolate run. You've always existed and done so much to support women and people in the community.
Right.
But now it seems this conversation is really more prevalent than ever before. But I think
in many ways it is, right.
But it should be talked about all the time.
It should be. I mean, domestic violence, now is getting national headlines, and at the same time, it's happening in homes, kitchens, bedrooms, living rooms, all over the Pioneer Valley, all over our area.
And it's not just these moments that we see that are caught on camera with someone who is a football superstar.
It's not just with famous people. It's not just high-profile people. It's happening to everyday people. Yeah.
So what we can do as bystanders or people in our community is help, is know how to spot warning signs and know what to say to support someone. So you have this campaign, Say Something.
Yes, we do.
Tell us about that.
Well, Say Something is it's organized on our website, saysomethingnow.org. It's our prevention program. We established it because we realized we were talking with ourselves and realize that everybody has something to say. No matter who you are, no matter what your job is, no matter how old you are, there's something that you can say to somebody that might help bring a person closer to justice and safety, but also might help bring our community closer to safety. And so Say Something is about people, it's based on three things: learn, act, be. So we learn about domestic violence, we learn the statistics, we learn about the dynamics, because I think even more important than the statistics, it's understanding how it happens and what it looks like and what it feels like.
And the progression.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely, absolutely. We very often talk about a cycle of violence where there's, domestic violence is so insidious, partly because it's in the context of a family or intimate relationship. So there may be love shared between the two people. It may have been a great beginning to a relationship. There's this phase called the honeymoon phase that very often people talk about. And then very often people talk about a tension building phase. And so you have a graphic there that kind of describes that. And then there's a phase of violence. So it's not always every single day at that stage of violence, but it kind of goes through cycles. And very often after the violence, there may be a place of calm, of remorse, of trying to get some help. And so victims really get caught up in that cycle, and sometimes because the relationship may not be the same from week to week, don't necessarily identify as victims of violence, because there are sometimes where it's actually good and there are good things happening. And then of course if there are children involved in the relationship, if they share living expenses, if they share a home,
it's complicated.
It's just very complicated. Yes.
But it's wonderful that you exist at Safe Passage to offer that support and to let people know, and that's why you're here too. Let people know if you know someone that may be going through this, if you are someone who is experiencing any type of violence at home, you are there to help.
Yes.
And so what people can do is reach out to you. Know that there are resources that will support them.
They can reach out to us. Our website, safepass.org, is full of information. We packed a lot of information into the website that people can read, at home before they even make the phone call, so that they can begin to realize some of the dynamics. But I think it's most important to just build connections. Domestic violence results in isolation. Someone gets so controlled and so overpowered by the abuser that they end up all of a sudden feeling like they have no friends, like their family is not around.
It's so unfortunate.
And so rebuilding that sense of support in that community is a huge process.
Yes.
At Safe Passage, we're not about judging. We're not about saying, oh, well, the relationship is at this point, so you have to leave, you have to end it. We're really more about listening and being supportive.
And loving and sharing, making sure that they know that you're there.
Right,
so,
absolutely.
Marianne, thank you for being here to tell us about this.
Thank you for having me.
We will put warning signs and things that you can say to someone who may be going through it on our website. And, of course, on yours, there's plenty of resources to help people.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ashley. Yep.